Hi guys, Anthony from iPanoramic Workshops here. Tonight we're going to be having a look at chromatic aberration. One of our group members, Tahi Ali Rugby, posted a couple of these nice images to our group. And the first thing I noticed about them was that there was this green fringing around his skylines. And that is a typical effect of chromatic aberration, which is also called color fringing. So we're just going to have a look at how we can avoid that, what it is, and how to fix it. So chromatic aberration happens because light enters a certain medium, in our case glass, and it bends or refracts inside that glass. Now, in the case of a lens, what it's trying to do is converge on a focus point, and if all those light beams and all those light colors converge at precisely the right point, then you'll have a perfect image. Where that doesn't happen, especially with green and purple wavelengths, you'll get that green and or purple banding in areas of high contrast, typically on a skyline. You'll see it mostly in tree branches, or in this case, there's a cliff with a bright background. So the best way to avoid it is to get an expensive lens. Lenses will, as they get more expensive, have a tolerance to avoid chromatic aberration. But if you can't afford the expensive lens, then what do? Well, we're not going to let that stop us from shooting. We're going to continue on, and we can fix that kind of problem in post-process in Lightroom. Now, the first thing I want to discuss is just a bit of a Lightroom layout. So you'll see over here our settings tabs. Your lens corrections might be at the bottom. What I'm going to suggest to you is to move your lens correction control here to the very top so that it becomes the first step in your workflow. You can do that by right-clicking, going to customize, and then just clicking and dragging lens corrections to the very top. It's important that lens correction is one of the first steps in your workflow, because we don't want to have to go back into the image after you've adjusted several settings and then tweak everything to try and remove that. This is especially important where images have got a lot of green in them. In this case, we've got the green shrubbery here. So the second we start to remove green fringing, we're going to be affecting other parts of the image. Okay, so we've got our layout. What I'm going to show you now is the difference between an automatic and a manual lens correction. So in these two examples that he has given us, they're both JPEGs. So we've got this image and we've got this image. The issue with the JPEGs that he's posted is that they've been stripped of their metadata. And in the metadata is the detail of what lens he used to take these images. What Lightroom will do is read the metadata to tell you what lens was used so that it can then apply an automatic adjustment to make things nice and easy for you. So in this case, if we try to do that, it doesn't pick up anything. The same applies on this image because it's a JPEG, metadata stripped. No lens correction has been applied because it doesn't know what lens was used. Let's have a look at the raw file here. We can see there's a CR2 file. If we click Enable Profile Connect Curve Corrections, first thing it does is recognize what that was, and you'll see it applies an instant change. If we're on our manual image and it's not detecting it, we can adjust this chromatic aberration. In this case, if we zoom in, you can see very heavily there's that green fringe where it's not supposed to be. We can do that via a manual correction. So if I click on this little eyedropper, I can come over here and select the area to adjust. Now, instantly you can see is an incredible change. If I turn that on and off, you can see what's happening. Now, what it hasn't done is gotten everything out for us, and you'll still see that there's some green fringes remaining. So let's have a look at this little area here, for example. What we can do is extend our hue range and increase the amount of adjustment. And what you'll see is that it has significantly improved the image. Let's go and try this on this image here. You can see the difference between these two shots. This is the raw shot. Tahir has put some changes here into the lake. He's made this nice and green, much more colorful, but he's also amplified that green in the fringe. So we can go to our manual selection, click our eyedropper, click on the green area, adjust our color range, and adjust the amount. Look at that, absolutely magic. Now I'm going to show you an area in this image where it probably hasn't worked as perfectly as it should have. You notice how the green fringe is still remaining on these bushes, on these leaves here. And that's because our range hasn't selected into these yellow areas. So if we expand this by sliding this left, you watch what happens. Green fringe is now gone. Beautiful. So looking at the before and after of this shot, what do you notice? The green fringe is gone, but the rest of the image, especially down here, has been affected. This is why it's very important to do this lens correction first and then apply changes to the rest of your image later. In this case, to fix this JPEG that he's already worked on, I would just create a virtual copy. I would correct the fringing up in this top area. I would leave the bottom area in the virtual copy, bring both into Photoshop, and then just mask them together so that you'd have a seamless transition. So looking at this raw file, we're going to go to our manual correction. We can click that and we can see that just by clicking a button, it has significantly improved all of the chromatic aberration. It's even done a reasonable job up here in this tree. You can see there are a couple of little bits left around the corner. You know how to fix that. You just go over to the manual selection, then expand your range. And so that wraps up our little talk on chromatic aberration. Hope you've enjoyed this little video. If it's been helpful to you, please click the like button and subscribe, hit the bell, etc. You know what to do. You're a avid YouTube watcher, I'm sure. Most of all, if you're not already a member of the iPanoramic Workshops Facebook group, I'm going to leave a link in the comments of this video. You are most welcome to join us. If you've got any questions about photography or post-processing, we've got several group members who are really professional and great at what they do. They're amazing photographers and they are very happy to help you. Okay, have a great night and we'll see you again soon.